Okay, let's unpack this. For years, we've all been debating diet, calories, health. It's
Mm,
easy to get bogged down, right?
absolutely. There's so much conflicting advice out there.
But today, we're diving into something specific, maybe a bit overlooked. This idea of ultra-processed foods
Uh-huh.
and how they might be sort of silently undermining male health, reproductive, metabolic, especially with some really groundbreaking new science coming out.
That's right. It pushes us beyond just counting calories.
Yeah, I mean, think about a typical busy day. Maybe you grab, I don't know, a sugary cereal bar in the morning,
Happens all the time.
or a fast food lunch squeezed between meetings, or maybe just a frozen dinner because you're wiped. We've all been there.
Of course. Convenience is king sometimes.
But what if those everyday choices, the easy stuff, are actually doing more harm than we think, especially for men, even if we think we're watching our calories, eating moderately?
Well, that's the core question, isn't it? And what's really striking is how this modern diet seems to have become a pretty significant factor in some really concerning global health trends.
Mm.
We've seen some compelling evidence recently that forces us to look past those simple nutrition labels to really understand the nature of the food itself.
So it raises that fundamental question.
Are all calories truly equal?
Yeah.
And our deep dive today, well, it strongly suggests the answer is probably no.
So today we're really getting into it. What exactly are these ultra-processed foods? What's the science saying about their impact? And, what does it all mean for our health, our future? Prepare for some eye-opening stuff.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's start there. What are we actually talking about with ultra-processed foods? It's not just like cooking something, right?
No, not at all. It's a specific category. We're not talking about, say, baking bread from scratch or making your own yogurt.
Right.
We mean these industrially formulated products, things often loaded with ingredients you probably wouldn't find in your kitchen cupboard.
Like what?
Well, think emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, loads of preservatives, artificial flavors, and usually really high levels of added sugars, unhealthy fats, and salt.
Okay.
There's actually a system, the Novier classification, that helps define this. It categorizes food based on the level of processing. UPFs are basically, food-like substances designed to be super tasty and last forever on the shelf.
Hyper-palatable, is that the word?
Exactly. Hyper-palatable and convenient, but maybe not designed for deep nourishment.
And once you start looking, they're just everywhere. Potato chips, obviously.
Sure.
Brightly colored sodas, instant noodles, those fancy frozen meals.
Yeah, all classic examples.
Even some things marketed as healthy, right? Like low-fat yogurts or certain snack bars.
That's a tricky one, yes, because they can still be packed with additives and industrially formulated, even if they have a health halo.
It's kind of funny, or maybe not funny. I bet most of us, myself included, have like 3 of those things in the kitchen right now.
It's very likely. It's the food environment we live in. Convenience often just wins out.
So if we zoom out a bit,
Hmm.
you mentioned global trends.
Yeah, there's this really striking, almost unsettling parallel that's unfolded over, the past 50 years or so.
Okay.
As these types of foods, these UPFs have just exploded in popularity and availability worldwide.
Uh-huh.
We've seen at the same time this dramatic global rise in obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Right. Those are huge public health issues we hear about constantly.
They are. We've been wrestling with them for years. But here's where it gets really interesting and maybe most concerning for our discussion today.
What's that?
Alongside these metabolic problems, there's been this really significant and frankly perplexing decline in male fertility.
Decline in fertility.
Globally. It's not a small dip either. It's a major shift that scientists have been trying to wrap their heads around.
And the numbers. I read something about sperm counts.
They're alarming. Globally, sperm counts seem to have plummeted by roughly 60%. 60 since the 1970s.
60%. Wow. That's staggering. More than half.
It's unprecedented, a huge global shift. And for a long time, scientists have suspected lifestyle factors are involved, diet being a big one.
So it makes you wonder, could these everyday convenient foods, the ones lining the supermarket aisles, could they actually be a major driver behind these trends, affecting, your long-term health, maybe even your plans for a family?
It's a question we absolutely have to ask.
You mentioned compelling evidence earlier. Was there a specific study, maybe that one from Copenhagen you hinted at, that really moved the needle on this?
Yes, absolutely. What really helped solidify things, I think, was this pivotal study from the University of Copenhagen. It was just published last month, August 28th, 2025.
Okay, very recent.
And it put UPFs squarely under the microscope. But crucially, this wasn't just another observational study, looking at correlation.
Right, which can be useful but doesn't prove cause and effect.
Exactly. These researchers designed an incredibly careful, controlled experiment. They wanted to directly isolate the impact of the UPFs themselves.
How did they do that?
Well, the design was pretty clever. They recruited 43 healthy young men aged between 20 and 35.
Okay, prime age range.
And they used what's called a 2x2 crossover design. Basically, each participant acted as his own control group.
Meaning?
Meaning every single man in the study followed both diets, an ultra-processed one and an unprocessed one, for 3 weeks each.
Ah, so they could compare the effects within the same person.
Precisely. And really importantly, they included a 3-month washout period between the two diets.
3 months? That's quite long.
It is. It ensures their systems completely reset before starting the next phase, makes the findings much more reliable.
Okay, that sounds rigorous. You said half started with one diet, half with the other.
Yeah, half started with the UPF diet, then switched to unprocessed after the washout, and the other half did the reverse. It helps minimize any bias from the order.
And what about calories? Because that's always the big question, right? Is it just eating too much?
That's the really key part here. They controlled for that specifically. Half the guys ate their normal calorie intake throughout.
Yep.
The other half ate an extra 500 calories per day. But, and this is the kicker for both the normal and high-calorie groups, the ultra-processed diet and the unprocessed diet were matched.
Matched how?
Matched for total calories, protein, carbs, and fats. So nutritionally, on paper, the diets looked identical in terms of macros and energy. The only real difference was the source of those calories, whole foods versus industrial formulations.
Wow, so they isolated the processing aspect itself?
They did, and they even went a step further. They kept the participants unaware or blinded to which diet they were currently on.
Really, how?
Careful planning of the meals, presumably. But it removes psychological bias, true scientific gold standard stuff. It let them see the pure physiological effects.
So after all that meticulous work,
Yeah.
what did they find? What was the big reveal?
The results were, well, pretty startling. They show that even when calorie intake was identical, the ultra-processed diet led to clear negative effects.
So it wasn't just the calories.
Exactly. It directly challenges that whole a calorie is a calorie idea, at least in this context.
What kind of effects did they see?
Okay, so first, the men on the UPF diet, even the ones not eating extra calories, showed noticeable weight gain and an increase in body fat.
Interesting.
Their cholesterol profile also got worse. Specifically, a higher ratio of the bad LDL cholesterol to the good HDL cholesterol. That's a marker for increased heart disease risk.
Okay, that's not good.
But perhaps the most striking findings were around reproductive health. They saw concerning trends towards reduced sperm motility.
Motility, so how well the sperm swim.
Exactly, which is critical for fertility. And they also saw changes in key hormones, testosterone and follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH.
And FSH is important for?
FSH basically signals the testes to produce sperm. So disruptions there are a direct hit to sperm production.
Wow. And was there anything else? Anything about contaminants?
Yes, and this was a really crucial detail. The men on the UPF diet had significantly higher levels of certain pollutants in their bodies, specifically a phthalate called CXMIMP.
A phthalate, like from plastics.
Precisely. It's a chemical often used in plastics, and it's known to leach into food during industrial processing or from packaging. We know these chemicals act as endocrine disruptors.
Meaning they mess with your hormones.
Correct. They interfere with our natural hormone systems. The lead researcher, Professor Beres, actually said he was shocked by how many different body functions were disrupted and so quickly, even in these healthy young guys.
Any other markers?
They also saw a decrease in something called growth differentiation factor 15, or GDF15. It's a hormone involved in energy metabolism, sort of like a metabolic stress signal. Its decrease suggested, again, a fundamental disruption beyond just the calorie count.
That is a lot. Okay, so the study clearly shows that these foods cause harm. But the big question now is why? What is it about these foods that's doing this?
Right. What are the mechanisms? It seems to be a combination of factors, sort of a multi-pronged issue.
Okay.
First, as we touched on, UPFs are packed with those additives, emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, stuff you just don't use in home cooking. We're still figuring out the long-term effects of these on our gut bacteria and overall health.
Right, the microbiome impact.
Exactly. Second, there's that hyperpalatability factor. They're literally engineered to make you want more, combining sugar, fat, salt in ways that can kind of hijack our natural hunger and fullness cues. So you might eat more, even if you're not truly hungry.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Then there's the chemical exposure we just talked about. That phthalate CXMMP is a perfect example.
Leaching from plastics.
Or processing equipment.
Yeah.
These endocrine-disrupting chemicals get into our system and directly interfere with hormone production. That can lead to lower testosterone, lower FSH, which, as we said, directly impacts sperm production, or spermatogenesis, and sperm motility.
Making it harder to conceive.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, there's the nutrient aspect. UPFs are often really poor in essential nutrients.
Empty calories.
Pretty much. They lack the vitamins, the minerals like zinc, selenium, vitamin E, the antioxidants, all that good stuff naturally present in whole foods that's absolutely vital for healthy sperm.
So they replace nutritious food.
Right. And they contribute to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, which we know damages sperm quality and just isn't good for overall health. So it's like a triple whammy. Chemicals, lack of nutrients, and messing with your appetite signals.
Wow. It really forces you to rethink what's on your plate. It's not just what's in the food, like the sugar or fat, but also what's missing, those vital nutrients, and then these extra unwanted things like chemicals coming along for the ride. It's complex.
It is a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah.
Depriving us of good stuff while exposing us to potentially harmful compounds. It highlights just how tricky our modern food world is.
And this Copenhagen study, while powerful, isn't alone, right? You mentioned it fits into a bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's a really important piece of the puzzle, but it aligns perfectly with other recent research we've looked at. It confirms this worrying global pattern that's gaining more and more scientific traction.
Like what other studies?
Well, for instance, there was an Iranian study earlier this year, February 2025. They found a similar thing. Higher UPF intake linked directly to lower sperm concentration and motility. And importantly, they adjusted for other factors like smoking or exercise, which strengthens the idea that the food itself is a problem.
Okay. Any others?
Yeah, we've also seen similar reports out of Italy, studies published late last year, November 2024, and again mid this year, June 2025, both found significantly poorer sperm quality in men who ate a lot of ultra-processed foods.
So different countries, different populations, same basic finding.
Exactly. It tells us we're looking at a consistent pattern. The evidence is really building up, painting a clear and, yeah, somewhat alarming picture.
So bringing it back to the listener, what does this all mean for you, for society? The implications seem pretty profound, especially maybe for younger men.
The stakes are incredibly high. First, obviously, there's the issue of infertility. Male factors contribute to almost half, 40–50% of infertility cases in couples.
That's huge.
It is. And dealing with infertility isn't just a medical challenge. It's emotionally devastating. It's financially draining. Costly treatments like IVF don't always work.
Right. And beyond fertility.
Beyond fertility, think about those metabolic effects the Copenhagen study showed, the weight gain, the extra body fat, the worse cholesterol.
Yeah.
Those directly increase the risk for major chronic diseases down the line. Things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, conditions that are already skyrocketing globally.
So picture a guy in his 20s, busy, relying on these convenient foods pretty regularly.
Yeah.
He might feel fine now, no obvious symptoms. But over years, that constant exposure, the weight gain, the hormone disruption, the chemicals, it could seriously impact his chances of starting a family later.
Absolutely. It's a cumulative effect.
And it could also set him up for serious health problems that impact his quality of life, maybe even how long he lives. It's not just about a few extra pounds. It's deeper than that.
It really touches on fundamental long-term health.
Okay, this all sounds quite serious, maybe even a bit depressing.
It can feel that way.
But you said there's good news, too. The research points towards solutions.
Yes, definitely. The flip side of understanding the problem is that it shows us a clear path forward. There are actionable solutions here.
Which are?
Well, fundamentally, it lies in shifting back towards minimally processed whole foods. It sounds simple, but the evidence is strong.
Like the Mediterranean diet people talk about.
Exactly. That's a great example. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, they've been consistently linked to better sperm quality and better overall health. There was another 2025 study showing men on a Mediterranean diet had better sperm metrics across the board.
Okay.
It's really about returning to basics, eating food closer to its natural state.
And making that shift. It doesn't have to be this massive overnight overhaul.
Not at all. It can feel daunting, but you can absolutely start small. Simple swaps make a big difference over time.
Like what kind of swap? Give us some easy ones.
Okay, instead of sugary sodas, maybe grab water or herbal tea.
Simple enough.
Swap out packaged snacks, chips, cookies for a piece of fresh fruit, or a handful of nuts, maybe some veggies and hummus.
Right. Things that are actually food.
Exactly. A good tip someone gave me is to try and shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Ah, where the fresh stuff usually is. Produce, meat, dairy.
Precisely. You naturally avoid a lot of the heavily processed items typically found in the center aisles. And even just cooking a few simple meals at home each week, using whole ingredients you recognize. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, instead of the frozen pizza, maybe make your own with fresh veggies.
Perfect example. These changes do two things. They boost your intake of those vital nutrients we talked about, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and they significantly cut down your exposure to the harmful additives and those pollutants like the phthalates. You're basically giving your body the fuel it needs without the interference.
Empowering your body, as you said.
Yeah, but looking beyond individual choices, these findings also really highlight the need for bigger changes, right? Policy changes.
How so?
Well, governments and the food industry have a massive role to play. Think about making whole, fresh foods more affordable, maybe through subsidies.
Okay.
Regulating the types and amounts of additives allowed in processed foods. Improving food labels, maybe some kind of clear front-of-pack warning about high UPF content, like some countries have for sugar or salt.
So people can actually know what they're buying.
Exactly. And more public health campaigns focus specifically on the risks of UPFs, not just general eat healthy messages.
Because it really is about making the healthy choice the easier, more affordable choice. As we've clearly seen today, not all calories are created equal.
Precisely. Our environment shapes our choices massively.
But we also have to be realistic. Changing habits is hard.
It really is.
These foods are designed to be convenient, cheap, and tasty. And for a lot of people, cost is a huge barrier.
Absolutely. Affordability is a major factor. And it gets even trickier because, as we mentioned, many UPFs are marketed cleverly.
Yeah, the healthy disguise.
Right. Those low-fat yogurts packed with sugar, the natural snack bars that are still highly processed. It means you really have to be a critical consumer. You need to read labels carefully.
Become a bit of a food detective.
Kind of, yeah. It takes conscious effort to see past the marketing and figure out what's actually nourishing.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. It's been a really eye-opening deep dive, I think, into this whole world of ultra-processed foods and their impact, especially on men's health and fertility. The science, like that Copenhagen study, seems pretty clear. These aren't just, harmless treats or quick fixes. They look like a genuine threat we need to take seriously.
I agree. The evidence suggests we can't really afford to ignore it anymore.
But it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all. This knowledge, this discovery, it's a wake-up call, definitely. But it's also a massive opportunity.
How so?
Because by understanding these risks, you, the listener, you gain the power to take control. You can make informed choices that actively support your health, your well-being, and potentially your future family.
Right.
Especially for young men, making that shift towards prioritizing whole, minimally processed foods now could be incredibly protective for both fertility and long-term metabolic health.
So maybe the next time you're reaching for that super convenient snack or that quick ready meal, just pause for a second.
Yeah, take a moment.
Think about the potential long-term cost behind the short-term convenience. And maybe imagine, what if our food system actually put health first, before profit?
It's a powerful thought.
Imagine affordable fresh food being easily available everywhere, nutritious options being the default, not the exception. It's a vision worth striving for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it starts with awareness, like hopefully we've raised today, and it starts with the choices each of us makes.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. It's been fascinating and honestly quite important.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and keep learning.